Welcome to the next Coffee with Jason. Today I have with me Tom Bush, the CEO of Actual Reality Technologies here in Northwest Ohio. So Tom, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself and who Actual Reality is?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Great to be here. Hi, everybody. Tom Bush. I started a company called Actual Reality Technologies. We are an AI startup. Our focus is in manufacturing as our primary focus. We love a concept called Industry 5.0, which is Industry 4.0 was the big data, let's get everything automated, get the human off the assembly line. Industry 5.0 is a concept that's emerging out of Europe and Asia. That is like, how do we make it more human-centric now? Now that we have all this data flowing, how do we help humans make faster and better decisions? But we're also helping a lot of companies in their back office automating. One of my expertise areas is autonomous automation. So we help make your business flow and help your processes move faster so that the human stays in the loop, but doesn't have to do all the manual heavy lifting.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that insight into where you're going. A lot of our customers are small, medium businesses. Can you explain at a pretty good level what the difference is so people understand, where is AI and where it plays, what's machine learning and how it plays, how do they work together, or are there specific tool sets in each one of those spaces?
Yeah. So, this term AI is, it's a big bag of lots of things, lots of tricks we can do with AI. And most often these days, people, when they say AI or artificial intelligence, they're talking about generative AI. And so this is a particular style of AI that's become really popular because ChatGPT, being one of the first to be with the breakout, created context so that the AI could actually have a conversation and continue a conversation with you in an ongoing way. But you probably have heard a little bit about, those solutions can hallucinate. They're a little bit risky to use. They can be wrong. And so that's really located to the Gen AI solution side of the house. And on the there's another concept, especially in industrial AI or Industry 5.0 in the manufacturing space. What we're using all the time is called machine learning. And this is how we actually train a computer and or create kind of models or statistical models on how that allows the computer to reason. And the real trick here on machine learning is that it is really based in statistics and mathematical principles. So when it gives a solution, it is able to tell you, hey, I think this solution will give you the answer 70% with 70% accuracy, versus a Gen AI solution, which is all that text generation. It's not able to give you that kind of response. I do have a quick little example I'd love to give. First, there's a graphic that if we can share. This is, I asked ChatGPT to draw this up for me, and it's really great because it broke it down into left brain and right brain, which we already know kind of as a way of thinking about our brains and the creative side versus the analytical side. And so you should be using your generative AI and ChatGPT type solutions when you're doing things like generating new images, generating new text. Anytime you're generating new content, Gen AI is a great solution. Anytime you want to do mathematical analysis, you want to predict, mathematically, what is my demand likely to be? What are the demand drivers? You want to, how you're able to train a computer to see something in a video and follow it. That's all machine learning. And so that's a little bit more on the analytical, mathematical side. And in industry, for manufacturers, we tend to trust our machine learning side more than we trust our generative AI side. Generative AI still has its benefits because it's an accelerant, right? It accelerates your brainstorming, it accelerates you to an answer. But we still promote human in the loop. So you still want to participate with the AI. You still want to validate everything you're getting out of it, especially on the Gen AI side. And then,
one of the things that we like to talk to people about before they dive in and start to use tools is the prep work in front of that. So it's everything from security and data protection, the ability to understand where your data might go when you release it into a tool set. Besides just those couple of things and getting ready to use the tool set with prompt engineering and the impact to hallucinations, what are a couple of other just high level things companies should think about before diving into an actual AI or ML implementation in their organization?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm still working with lots of companies to get in play is the policy, right? So you want a policy that tells your employees how to take advantage of this capability. If you don't have a policy, then you tend to have to defend, which tells you basically say don't use it, right? And so that was, if you back up a year, I was inside working at Amazon 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was working at Amazon, and even at Amazon, they were saying don't use ChatGPT, like completely restricted. And while that is a defensive position, if you want your employees to take advantage of it, which you should, you proactively discern, how do I want my employees to use it, and then set a policy saying we don't use ChatGPT for free. We paid for a version of Copilot, so go use Copilot, right? And that's what you should be saying in your policy, so that your employees know how you want them to embrace this new technology. No longer should we be sitting in a position where you're saying, no, don't use it, but you do want to provide that policy and guiding them. And, just as a side note, in this day and age, we do need to be thinking about how companies afford to give us free tools. So ChatGPT has free version, Claude.ai, which is another AI similar, has free version. But you have to ask yourself, when I get something for free, what am I giving away? What are they getting out of it? And so in the case of these AIs solutions, often they're using your data, and they're not hiding that. If you slow down and read what you're agreeing to when you sign up, it literally says, because we're giving this to you for free, we are going to use anything you put in and anything we generate to help advance our next model. Because if you get deep into the AI stuff, one of the concerns is we don't have enough data, because they've already consumed the whole of the internet. And now for it to get smarter and to have more data to train on, it has to generate some data. And so this interaction it gives with people who are using it for free is great. However, it's not great for your company, because your company stuff will be getting out into the world. So you definitely want to be paying for your use. That way it puts you into a position, and then you want to check your settings. Because I literally discovered early on, while I was paying for it on my personal use, the little setting of we can use your data to train our model was still set to yes, and I didn't realize that. So I had to go in my settings and realize that there is a button you can switch to make it so it's no. And so when you pay for it, and then if for corporate, if you're paying for a Teams and ChatGPT or even for Copilot, usually when you're paying for the business license version of it, they're automatically setting it to no, because they know that your default answer is no. So
good input. Okay, before we move into my last question, we are having a lunch and learn together. So Tom and I are going to host a session here at the DMC building on June 25th. Reach out to either Tom or I if you'd like to register for that and deep dive into some of these questions and gain some further insights. So we'll be doing that June 25th. Tom, my last thing for you. DMC is proud of the way that we work with charitable companies within the Toledo area. And we really spend a lot of time helping companies in Toledo that are nonprofits. I know you've got something going on as well. And I think it's a great program to help teach kids not only how to read, but how to use tools like AI and become authors. So I'd love for you to describe some of the charitable work your company does and where we might be able to help if needed.
Sure. Yeah. So I've got up on the screen here a quick little video. This is an event we ran. We ran a summer camp last year where we helped 40 TPS students get published. This was from ages 7 to 12. And we basically had 4 half days with these students, and we were really pushing the boundaries of what was possible. So we spent 2.5 days having the students explore characters, learning about what makes a good book, what book do they want, what journey should their characters go on. And this is all with a desire to help our community embrace AI, demystify it for the world and for them and their parents, and also show that we can do something so much bigger now that we have AI as a superpower. And so these 40 students both published their book. That video showed you the publisher's party. We had 300 people showed up. We printed 15 copies of their books. Almost all the kids sold out, so they went home with $150 in their pocket. And some of these students have gone on to print T-shirts with their characters and host book signings at local bookstores. And so, it's like this little spark that we can create now that we have this tool that allows us to do things that maybe weren't trained yet to be able to do. We can still get what's in our mind out to the world and express ourselves in new ways. and do things on a bigger scale. So we have a nonprofit called Empowered AI. We're doing this both in K-12, trying to get our schools to embrace AI and show how it helps accelerate learning. And then also we're doing it with workforce development, helping adults basically use AI to land bigger and better jobs through the fact that they can now have this partner that can be along their side and help them do amazing things.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things you mentioned to me before when we talked about this was the fact that they used the tools, they learned about it, they learned reading skills and things like that, but it was the confidence that came out of them and the impact that confidence had on just who they were as a person. So that was really a kind of a key learning for me when we talked about this before.
Yeah, and this is for your listeners and their employees. The confidence was something that blindsided me. I was testing hypotheses along all kinds of parallels, like, will they creatively understand how to use ChatGPT in this case and see that it's useful in lots of different ways, not just the way I'm showing them. And, the list goes on and on of all the things, like, will they pay attention to the class even? But the thing that just, was the biggest learning for me and smacked me in the face of like, whoa, how did I not see this? But also this is awesome, is both in the students and in the adult learning, the confidence that individuals get now that they have the ability to ask their questions to somebody without having to be judged, right? And so they know that this is a private conversation I'm having with ChatGPT. I don't know how to do this. Some of that imposter syndrome or whatever they may have been feeling, they can get it out without having to expose themselves. And now they can step out in a whole new way. And, I've had individuals say like, I've had trouble competing in the job market my entire life, but with this, I see how I could compete. And I mean, that's like, wow. And then I'd never expected it, but yeah, confidence. And so you want your employees to start moving in confidence and empowering them with AI. And then the last thing I'll add on that front, when you start rolling this out, there's a cultural shift that has to occur. I guarantee you in your company, there are people who are using AI and ChatGPT and not telling anybody. And that's fine. But we should move to a space where we're actually now upset with them for not telling anybody, not because we think they're cheating and we want to expose them, but because by not telling people, they're not sharing how other people could, it's not giving the learning opportunity to others to see how they could be using AI to accelerate X, Y, and Z. And so I have a little mantra that I use ChatGPT to help me get to, practicing the share, that it's smart, not sneaky, to use AI. And that's like a cultural shift that we have to help our employees work through.
Well, Tom, appreciate you being here. How do people get a hold of you if they want some additional guidance on whether it's an AI ML strategy or anything else?
Yeah, so you can find our website, actualreality.tech. And that's a great way. You'll find our contact info there. You'll be able to sign up for a consultation. We're happy to have conversations with anybody and discuss how you can start with AI if you have particular problems. We like to talk about, 3 things. 1, what are you spending most of your money on? Let's see if we can solve that. What are you spending most of your time on? And then what do your employees hate doing? And these are 3 angles by which you can find really great solutions and opportunities to automate so that everybody can do more with less.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Tom, appreciate you being here.